Well, hello and welcome to today's webinar on positivity, where we'll show you how you can start earning 12% or more today with microlending that makes a difference. So today I'm going to show you who is Positiviti Lending, how Positiviti Lending is solving a worldwide problem, what is microlending and why doesn't my financial advisor know, how microlending works with Positiviti, how our borrowers get access to our microloans, why your investment matters, and how you're going to earn 12 to 36% on your investment every year. So our story and our mission is that we began in 2018 to help small, medium, and micro enterprises flourish and grow in their own countries without the aid of foreign governments. And currently we're serving the country of Kenya. And our portfolio has grown 1,000% year after year, as well as our client base from the start. Now, our microlending platform is dedicated not only to the success of our lenders, but also our borrowers. And the secret to our success is that our borrowers have a default rate of less than 1% on our loans, where the average is around 3 to 3.5% in the United States. And we offer our borrowers a much lower interest rate per month when compared to our competitors, and our microloans are processed within 48 hours for our qualifying borrowers. And our microlenders receive a better return on their investment funds than what most other microfinancing companies offer. So basically, Positiviti Lending is solving a problem. We launched in Kenya in 2018, which has a market population of about 55 million people, but only 10% of the population have formal access to traditional banks. That means 50 million people don't have any access to traditional banking. So by meeting this rising need for microlending, we have aimed to help those entrepreneurs build businesses and create jobs in their communities. And microlending is a smart strategy for achieving your long-term financial goals as an investor. So Positiviti can help build your investment safely, and all you need to do is sit back and watch your funds grow. So people often ask, what is microlending? Well, microlending is the process of connecting a borrower and a lender for a non-traditional smaller loan. A borrower usually uses microloans if they do not have access to local financial institutions, if they have poor or no credit, or if they want a smaller loan than what their bank will allow. Now, the investors will turn to microloans to earn higher rates of return and diversify their portfolios across different types of debt and different loans. Microlending is heavily supported by peer-to-peer lending digital capabilities that connects borrowers and investors and lending platforms across the world. There are many different microloan platforms online, each with their own loan requirements, fees, and policies. And so then again, we get the number one question is, why doesn't my financial advisor know anything about investing in microlending? And obviously, most people haven't even heard of microlending. Well, microlending companies like Positiviti, Tala, Branch, and others are not public companies, so they're not traded on the stock market. Your financial advisor advises on stocks and funds that are publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ. So microlending companies are privately funded in typically four ways here. We have peer-to-peer lending, where with Kiva or Lending Club is that you as an investor would directly give a portion of that investment directly to a borrower. So you're on the hook directly one-to-one. There's private equity groups, which are typically millionaires who will invest and get a lot better return on their money to give the businesses a larger amount of capital than what they might get from a bank. And then you've got your venture capitalists, your Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Peter Thiel. These are the guys that invest hundreds of millions of dollars in companies, and they expect a much larger return on their money. If you've ever watched Shark Tank, you'll understand that. And then finally, there's Positiviti Lending, where anyone can invest and receive a minimum of 12% up to 36% return on their money. So the pros of microlending are high liquidity, stable returns, and monthly interest payments, broad diversification options. But there are some cons, and they are unsecured loans, much like the credit card you might have in your wallet. They are a lower quality borrower. Again, in the case of Kenya, they just don't have access to banks. And there could be a higher default rate. So at the end of the day, microlending isn't risk-free, but it also isn't as volatile as the stock or crypto markets, as we've seen very recently. Now, with the yield starting at 12% return, microlending with Positiviti offers an interesting investment alternative for everyone. So people will say, well, where is this happening? Well, traditionally, microlending is in a lot of rural countries and communities. As you can see that by this chart up here at the top, is that 80% are typically women borrowers and that 65% are rural. Now, Peru and Bolivia are the large, as well as Mexico, are very large in Central and South America. Africa Kenya is one of the largest countries. You've got the Philippines and India, which are very large in the South Asian and Eastern Pacific markets. Now, how it works is Positiviti turns your investment into available microloans for small, medium-sized businesses in Kenya. Those microloans are issued to the businesses and individuals, which in turn they're paid back with principal and interest within 30 days, and those interest and gains are reported to the lenders. Just that simple. So people will ask, well, who's managing this loan process in Kenya? Well, Positiviti has partnered with Open Valley Investment Group, who's been operating in Kenya since 2018 and founded by co-founder and president Dr. Barry Odhiambo and his management team. He is a doctor of economics, which he acquired here in the United States. Barry's team has over 50 years of combined experience working with medium, small, and micro enterprises. Their management team operates out of Nairobi and Kisumu and have over 200 field reps traditionally just working the rural areas of Kenya. Now, their success has allowed them to open a traditional credit union called the Frieza, which is the African Rebuilding Savings and Credit Cooperative. And it was founded to address many of those challenges that the small and micro businesses have in Kenya, and it's helping them step up into a traditional financial society. And it was really by working with these small businesses to help them get that leg up and create this cooperative. So here's some of the team members that are working in Africa. And so basically the process of receiving a loan in Kenya is a couple of ways. One of the main ways is through the AfriCash app, which is on the Google Play Store in Kenya. So a lot of people say, well, I can't see it. Well, it's because it's a Kenyan app. It's for Kenya market. Positiviti utilizes a software app that automates lending through the platform called AfriCash, and this is a unique money lending app which credit borrowers with low interest 30-day loans and flexible repayment schedules. The app quickly gets our borrowers the cash they need by transferring the loan straight to their mobile wallet, which is secured by M-Pesa, which is a mobile wallet which was started in Kenya. And this is what the app looks like on a smartphone in Kenya. Now, people say, well, what impact does my investment have on Kenyans? Well, number one, you help increase access to credit. Microlending provides access to credit for people who don't have access to traditional banks or loans, and especially in low-income and rural areas. Now, it also helps with economic empowerment. I mean, it helps individuals and families lift themselves out of poverty by increasing their income, improving their standard of living. And in Kenya's case, over 10% of the population has been lifted out of abject poverty. It creates job creation. Just much like businesses here getting loans from a bank, microlending helps create jobs and stimulate economic growth in rural communities by providing the funding for these small businesses and entrepreneurs. And community development. Microlending can also help develop communities by providing funding for public goods, services, schools, health clinics, and so it can create a community sense of ownership among the members in the community. So here's a couple of customer reviews. Faith used AfriCash app to finish paying for school fees for her children. In a lot of rural countries, a lot of countries in Africa, school is not a public right, it's private. Or they might start with a couple years, but so a lot of parents have to pay for schooling. Grace used AfriCash as traditional businesses would to refill the stock at her kiosk and able to sell more goods and then turn around and increase her business at the local market. And so people will ask, how can I be confident that my investment is safe? And we mentioned the M-Pesa network. And M-Pesa is a mobile banking service in Kenya that allows users to transfer money, pay bills, make purchases, all using their mobile phone. Doesn't even have to be a smartphone. The service was launched and created by Safaricom in 2007 in partnership with Vodafone. And it was originally in Kenya, and it has over 30 million registered users in Kenya, but it is now in 10 countries, including India, Mexico, Philippines, and more. M-Pesa allows those users to deposit and withdraw money, send money to users, pay bills, buy goods and services directly on their mobile phone. Think of Venmo, but on your any phone. You can just text somebody. They can also get cash at local think of your local 7-Eleven, just like instead of an ATM. So it's a much more secure way, and it does allow more people to participate in a formal economy and manage their finances. Now, this was an interesting blog from a well-known blogger, and it looks at what the IRS says are 7 streams of income for the average millionaire. Obviously, their earned income from their job, capital gains from share of stocks or real estate, business income, that could be some other investments that they're doing, dividend income, maybe from stocks, interest income, including peer-to-peer lending, rental income, and royalties and selling rights. So the IRS has already recognized micro-lending and peer-to-peer lending as one of those streams of income that many millionaires and billionaires will diversify into. So then the question is, how can I start earning 12 to 36% annually on my investment? Well, we have really the silver membership, which is anybody that wants to come in under $50,000, as little as $150. We want you to start earning 12% a year. Try getting that from your local credit union or bank. So the silver members can become gold members. Once their $50,000 investment has accrued over $50,000, then they'll start earning the 36% return annually. If you come in at $50,000, you're instantly a gold member. And then we have what we call our platinum membership. Those at $1 million will come in with 36% plus get a 3% bonus annually, which means their investment is 39%. So imagine $1 million, they would be earning $390,000 annually on that $1 million. So a lot of people say, well, I got a traditional Roth IRA. How much am I going to have there? Well, if you take a look at what that Roth IRA is, a lot of it's in the first 10 years, you'll invest $65,000, and you'll have, if you get 10% returns, and I'm saying the big if, I don't know how many IRAs this last year even made a positive return in our market, but if you do, over 10 years, you should end up with around $115,000. And at the end of 40 years, if you manage to get an annualized average return of 10%, well then, hey, congratulations, you'll have $3 million at the end of that 40 years. But with Positiviti, it's totally different here, because that one-time $50,000 contribution is going to give you an annualized return of 36%. So in 10 years, you will have $1,083,000 instead of $115,000. And in 20 years, you're going to eclipse even what you would have done in 40 years by a factor of almost 8. And you'll end up with $23 million that you'll be able to retire on, hopefully very happy and successfully. Or you can just keep rolling it over and keep rolling it over to build wealth for your family and next generations. And sorry about that. Let's go back here and just take a quick example. Now, when you schedule an appointment with one of our team members, we're going to take you through and put in your own numbers and what you have and help you understand where you're going to be in 10 to 12 years with Positiviti. But if you start with a $50,000 investment, you'll see that, as we talked about, that year 10, you're going to have $1 million. But you'll notice in 2 years, you will almost have doubled it to $2 million at the end of 2 years. Now, what's interesting here, so at any point in time, you can just take a withdrawal and start taking a monthly dividend once you build it up. So you don't have to just keep rolling it, but you can, and build a lifelong generational changing wealth. So people will say, well, what kind of fees am I going to incur when I withdraw my principal and interest or start taking a dividend payment? Well, there are no fees, except we're going to report the gains to the IRS, meaning that if you make 12%, that 12% that you made will get reported as a positive gain. If you made 36%, only the positive gains will be reported. There's no fees, no withdrawal penalties, nothing. It's just we're going to report what you made with Positiviti. If you just keep rolling it over year after year, well, until you start to take that dividend, at that point, we will then report it. But other than that, there are no fees that you incur at any time year after year. Are there other companies in the U.S. participating in microlending in Kenya, or is Positiviti the only one? Well, I mentioned a couple early on. Tala is one of them. Tala has received over $375 million in venture capital funding, including from PayPal Venture Capital Group, which some of their investors include Elon Musk and Peter Thiel. Branch is another company out there I did mention. Now, Branch is still a company that if you have a $100,000 investment, you can invest in Branch. They will give you a 20% return after a year. So we're giving you an extra 6% or 16% over Branch. But they have also accrued $274 million in venture capital funding. We hear that both of these companies are looking in the public, possibly to go public. Tala is closer, but either one will pretty much guarantee that the returns will only be what you see in the stock prices if they do go public at all. Kiva is a company I also mentioned, but it's a direct peer-to-peer lender, meaning you choose somebody to invest in and then you give that money directly. If they don't pay back, you're on the hook. So you're not part of a lending pool that you would be, say, with a Branch, Positiviti. So it's a direct one-to-one relationship in lending. Now, a lot of people will see, well, what kind of, who is some of the competition in Kenya? Well, there are players in the Kenyan market. You can see Branch Loan, Tala Loan down here on the list right here. You can see Africash here. So our minimum amount is 50 Kenyan shillings, and they have 30 days to repay. Our max amount is 60,000 Kenyan shillings. We don't want our borrowers to get over indebted, but we also want to help them with minimal amounts. So if they do need something less than 1,000 or 100 or whatever. So we do make our minimums lower than most. We're right there with 30 days. You can see most companies. And we do try to keep our borrowers from getting overextended. So why should I become a lender at Positiviti today? Well, basically because you're help diversifying your portfolio, many times to align with an investment goal that you really want at the end. Microlending defaults are minimal, meaning the risk of any individual microloans is spread out. And in our case, you're in a lending pool, so you're not taking any of those losses if they happen. Microlending is important to keep in mind that there are no expenses associated with it. The people just go to the app, download the app, or text through M-Pesa, and they get basically approval. So there's not fees that are associated like you're having to come up with an extra 1.75% per year for somebody to, quote, manage that fund. Microlending is instant diversification. So we're diversifying into markets that are outside the traditional stock market, and therefore we're not susceptible to market influxes or moves as such as the stock market or something as crazy as the crypto market affecting the stock market. Microloans offer lenders tangible benefits that can outweigh the advantages of traditional funds. And by simply investing $50,000 now, you will earn 3% monthly dividend every month that will change your life, maybe your family's life, in a guaranteed way to become a millionaire. And so then people say, well, how can I get started with Positiviti? Well, to get started with 12%, it's as little as $150 and $10 a month to become a silver member and begin earning 12% a year. This is the amount the average Kenyan earns per month. That's why $150 will help a Kenyan get money they need. And compare that how much your savings account is going to return to you. How much is your local credit union or bank going to give you on that savings account for $150? Not guaranteed they won't be giving you 12%. I don't even think they'd give you 12% even if you said you'll give them $100,000. So we're already beating the local credit union. Now, if you invest a minimum of $50,000 to become a gold member, you'll start earning 36% a year. Plus, if you do have an IRA or 401k and you'd like to roll over a portion of that, you can do that through our Oasis Retirement Trust, which is a traditional fiduciary retirement trust, but one of the options that we have over and above the traditional stocks and mutual fund market is the Positiviti Lending, and being able to use your retirement funds in Positiviti. So we do have one unique opportunity. We call it the Positiviti Friends and Family 36, and that basically means get several friends and family together to pool a minimum of $50,000 and earn 36% a year for everyone. This opportunity ends in March, but let's say you have 5 people that each have $10,000. Well, each member is going to earn $3,600 over the next 12 months instead of $1,200 individually. So that's a $2,400 increase per member. Or you could have varying amounts from, say, let's say you have 6 family and friend members, and some have 1,000, some have 5,000, maybe somebody has 30,000. Everybody will earn, again, 3% a month, 36% annually. And you can see that the person earning with $1,000 is going to be earning $360. The person with $5,000 will be earning $1,800, and the person with $30,000 can be earning more than $10,000 respectively each year. You can leave that in, keep building up that wealth together. So, if you're ready to become a lender, we just need to follow these steps. Number 1 is schedule an appointment with one of us down below. Just schedule an appointment. We'll walk you through. We'll put your numbers in the spreadsheet. We'll let you see your growth rate from what you have individually. That's the first step. Now, if you're ready, maybe you want to start at the $150 level, maybe at any level, you feel confident, you can go to the Positiviti button and register online directly. Then you will get an email to confirm how to wire payment to Positiviti. You can also send in a cashier's check. Now, if we're doing a rollover, we will help guide you through how to do that. Your rollover payments will go directly to Oasis Retirement Trust. Again, you can call us at the number listed here. And we want to thank you for attending this webinar today. We know that we didn't take any questions on the webinar today. Purposely, we want to schedule a one-to-one conversation with you to help you and your financial success. Again, my name is Dan Smith, and you can reach out to myself or Jan Hale. Schedule an appointment below, and we will walk you through your individual retirement and investment numbers, and show how we can build your wealth together and you can help Kenyans build their business. We thank you so much today. Have a good day.